Hello everyone and welcome back to the SugarHoneyIcedTea podcast. Wait, let me... I can't... Hello everyone and welcome back to the SugarHoneyIcedTea podcast.
You bloody moved it in front of Josh's face!
Dickhead!
Hello everyone and welcome back to the SugarHoneyIcedTea podcast. Today we're talking about films of the decade.
Hello,
Dun,
mate.
dun, dun. It's been a good decade for films, if you ask me. I suppose every decade's good for films. It's a long time, 10 years.
Yeah.
So there's obviously got to be something worthwhile. But we were going to go through
You'd hope so.
every genre.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not every genre. There's too many genres to count. But
That's
we'll go through some of the big
suitable
ones.
genres, please,
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
All right, kick it off then, Josh.
I would like to go with my personal favourite genre. I'll go for horror.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
want
good.
to know what the best horror movie of the decade
When
was.
did the first Conjuring come out?
That's all... Oh.
There, Google.
Fact check the first one. I feel like that is this decade. Okay, well, while she's fact check, I'm gonna tell you.
2013. Boom, sorted.
First Conjuring. I am going to say my favourite horror film of the decade was Hereditary.
I haven't seen it. What's it about? What made it good?
Well, I'm
compared
not
to
going to spoil
others?
it for lovely viewers at home, but because I think you should watch it. But if you like your demons and you like your creepy children, it's got creepy children. It's got demons in it, and genuinely felt really uncomfortable watching it.
I will give that a watch. I love a good horror
I don't
film.
want to spoil it. That's the problem. But it's got there's a scene in the car, and it's.
Oh no! You'd like that, Jamie? It's
Yeah,
right up
I
your
like
street.
cars.
For those of you who've seen the film, I say a scene in the car. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a scene in the car which is really shocking, and I was like, fuck! I did not see that coming. Like, fair play. Like, horror films are quite predictable. Modern ones are very predictable. This one, I was like, I did not see that coming.
Do you know what? Saying you talk about non-predictable horror films, As Above, So Below is not so much of a well-known horror film, but I'd recommend that. That's not your generic haunted house demon thing, so check that out. As Above, So Below. They go to Paris catacombs in Paris and have a knockabout down there, see what happens. Yeah, really good. My favourite horror film, like I said, The Conjuring, and I think that's definitely up there. It must be number 2.
Mind you, I think
it did kickstart all of the great ones.
It did. I will say I think The Conjuring 2 is better than the first Conjuring.
That's just a controversial opinion because a lot of people think it's a lot worse. That's the one in Britain, right?
Yeah, but I love that
I
one.
liked it because I feel like it's more relatable, you know, which makes it scarier.
Yeah.
So I agree with you there, but I know most people won't agree.
Okay, Jamie?
I'm going to be a bit of a basic biash. Just because...
That's French.
Just because it actually did make me jump, and not many movies make me jump. It for me.
Yeah, it was...
Number 1, not number 2, number 1 for me.
It was good, and Bill Skarsgård's adaptation of... Adaptation really weird. Bill Skarsgård's adaptation of Pennywise was impressive.
He looked creepy, didn't he?
There were some scenes when I was like, ho ho ho.
Yeah.
I just nervously laughed in my seat at the cinema.
I enjoyed it.
I loved. These boys know from like horror mazes. It takes a lot to make me jump, just because I grew up playing horror games.
Find out in our Thought Park
Fright Night vlog
video. Yeah, check it out.
It was a movie that made me jump. And even see number 2 as well. I went to go see with a few friends and Laura and.
Is that any good? Number 2.
I really
not
enjoyed
as good
it.
as the first one.
I was low-key freaking out at number 2.
I like the
there's
first
many
one.
people that can say and hold me to that, but I was jumping a lot and number 2. So yeah, for me, that's good. But I also do like the
It was a really good film. I've seen that the first It, and when we said first It, not the 80s one. Obviously, this is the 2015, 16, 17 one, whatever it was, 18. Yeah. Who cares? Anyway, well, whatever it was, it's really good.
Okay, so
that's horror for you.
My next genre for you guys.
We could go on about horror for ages.
We could. That's the thing. Which is why I need to sort of wrap this horror one up. Action, and obviously let us know your favourite films of the decade in the comment section below. Action films.
Mine. Well, I don't know. Action films aren't my cup of tea. Now, that's if we're separating action from war films, which, in my opinion,
we'll do war films as separate.
Yeah, are different. So action films. I don't really like action films. I always find them cheesy and unrealistic and stuff. So when I was looking through some of the best films, I actually saw Skyfall was up there, and I'm not a massive James Bond fan, but I really like Skyfall, and a lot of people do. It's got brilliant scenes in it. It's got a brilliant soundtrack. It's just it looks great, and especially like sort of the end scenes as well. And for someone that doesn't really like James Bond, I can happily watch that over and over again. Really, so Skyfall is definitely an action film, and I think it's great as a movie. And you don't have to see the other James Bonds. Really.
Yeah, no, you don't.
No.
That's a thing.
Okay, my favourite. Right, here's the thing. Action. I could say Avengers Endgame. I could say Avengers.
Yeah, but that comes as a
Infinity War.
superhero film.
True. My favourite action film, if you class it as an action film, was probably Captain Phillips.
Is that an action film? That's a drama film.
Is it drama? I mean, they're shooting the shit out of each other. Well, he's not really. He's getting shot the shit out of, and then you got the army coming in on the boat at the end. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's more
okay.
of
Fine.
a
If
drama.
you're not classing that as action,
It's very difficult, but it's
Baby Driver.
Yeah, that would be an action
Baby Driver.
film.
Yeah.
I didn't watch
the
it.
driving in that is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm a car fan.
I haven't seen it, but
Okay.
I assume it's quite good. I've heard good things.
It is brilliant.
Now, being a car enthusiast, I could say Fast
A
and
car
Furious.
fuse.
A car fuse? No, being a car enthusiast, I could easily say, Fast and Furious, you know. But I consider that to be in its own genre.
I
But
think
one,
it's crap.
but
It is. It
but-
is though.
but one movie that's kind of I've always enjoyed and I'll happily watch every time has been definitely The Kingsman.
I thought you were
yeah.
going to say Cars.
Oh yeah.
What's the film?
Kingsman's good.
The Kingsman, just because everything about it. I mean, it's just I love that film to pieces.
Sorry.
No, but that's my probably.
I've not seen The Kingsman 2. Is that good?
Yeah, it's really
I've seen the first one a couple of times.
not as good as the first one, but it's very.
But I've seen that scene, the country road scene where he comes out of the bush. Almost heaven. Yeah, that is quite cool. But it's actually a good sort of thing. It's sort of a new, modern, weird twist on the whole spy movie.
It's just
deal.
like the council, state, council estate comedy.
Yeah.
It's the witty banter in it. I love
It's,
it.
it's
kinda-
very
my
British.
It's my comedy.
Well, speaking of comedy, what's your best comedy film?
Oh, I don't know. I
Last
watched.
decade.
I prefer. Do you know what I prefer? Comedy TV shows. So it's quite difficult. I'd have to have a think about it. But talking about spy movies and being funny, I actually, and I never used to think it was funny, but rewatching it now I'm older, Johnny English is bloody hilarious.
Yeah, that is funny.
The first one, and that was made in early 2000s and the 90s. But they did redo one or a couple this decade, but they weren't very good. Favourite comedy film? Now that is a good question.
I can't remember any comedy.
I
films
can't
now.
remember. I watched one that I remember being in the cinema in fits of laughter was I don't remember what it was called, but it had Morgan Freeman in, Michael Caine, all the old actors, and they did a bank heist. What is it? What's it called now? It's not Going Out in Style. It might have been Going Out in Style, but yeah. There's this scene where they're practicing to rob a bank, so they decide to rob a shop, and so they're stealing vegetables, and this fat American cop tries chasing after them, and they're really slow because they're old, and she's really slow because she's fat, so it's like the slowest chase ever. And she's going, "I'm gonna tase you," and he's like, "No, you're not," carrying this fruit and veg, and he eventually gets put in the front of one of them old people granny mobile things. This old bloke gets put in the basket whilst Morgan Freeman's driving, and he goes, "What am I, E.T.?" And check it out, whatever it's called, but check it out. You'll Google the actors, and that was like a thing that I remember actually laughing quite a lot in the cinema. Oh, here we go, In-Betweeners movie. They came out.
I was going to suggest it was a movie, but then I thought, when did Hot Fuzz come out?
Oh, well, let's just had it up. I've had it up.
Oh, you see, now you're sort of making me remember these things. So like Hot Fuzz,
Oh,
Paul,
2007.
Shaun of the Dead.
Oh shit, you can't count Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz came out in 2007. Wow.
I'm looking.
World's End came out in 2012, and for a long time that was my favourite film.
World's End was good.
It's not that funny though.
It's just a good film.
It's just a really
Yeah, just a good
enjoyable film, but it is a comedy. So there you go. I think comedy is so difficult, especially because it's every people's sense of humour is quite different. Although there's that classic British sense of humour, which every Simon Pegg film and Nick Frost film is done just perfectly well.
Yeah.
And I love a film about going to the pub. I don't know why. It just reminds you of
you.
Yeah, well,
and
no.
Pub whenever he can.
Yeah, but like
He's an alcoholic. Help him.
I like going on nights out and that whole sort of atmosphere of going on a night out and having fun with your friends, and that's what The World's End's all about. And it's got action and comedy, and it's just great.
What other comedy films?
I've got a few here.
In-Betweeners was good.
For the cut here, I've got a few.
Yeah, go on.
We've got 21 Jump Street, if you've ever seen that. Deadpool falls under it.
Is Deadpool?
I literally searched comedies.
Deadpool's comedy, yeah.
Kick-Ass, The Heat, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. The fuck is that? Pitch Perfect. No, I'm alright.
That's a good movie.
Anchorman 2, Thor Ragnarok apparently. I guess that's kind of common.
Let's talk about Thor Ragnarok. We can talk and we can go into superhero from there.
My comedy.
Paul.
Johnny English.
We'll do yours then. We'll talk about Thor.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Right. That's what we'll do. Cheers, Ollie.
So compared to like British comedy, I want to take a turn. Just because this film has always made me laugh every time I watch it, and I don't know. I think it's just a crap American banter. Like there's some of their crap jokes. It's Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2.
Oh, Grown Ups 2 is what's the one where they get that massive raft behind that like bus or something?
That's Grown Ups 2.
I think it's Grown Ups 2.
I always confuse.
And there's that one where he's banging on the ice cream machine and like you can see it fall, like, the ice cream falling between his legs and it looks like shit.
Some of the scenes in it are so fun. Like there's a dog that squeaks and he's like put the dog down. And
I don't really like American comedy, but you're right.
Yeah, no, that's kind of my turn. But I do love British comedy as well.
Yeah, it is very different. It's more British comedy is more satire and not in your face and a lot of sarcasm. American comedy is like silly voices, people shouting, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So to bridge us into our next one, I want to bring up Thor Ragnarok because it is the funniest Marvel movie. If you can class it as a comedy, it needs to be mentioned.
I don't think I've seen it.
But so yeah, it's a suggestion because if you can class that as a comedy, it needs to be mentioned because it was one of the funniest films of the decade.
The Avengers films always have comedy in them.
Marvel do humour really well. But the next bracket is superhero movies. What's everyone's favourite superhero? I mean, should we just agree now? Infinity War and Endgame.
Captain Marvel for me.
I never saw that.
Okay, fine.
Infinity War. I mean, I'm not
that's
that
your opinion.
into
That's
it.
your opinion.
I'm not that into superhero films, really. I mean, I followed the whole Avengers thing, but I still to this day haven't seen all of them. There's a hair in my eye. Someone else talk.
Well, so I've seen all of them. I think obviously Infinity War and Endgame will be the best because it's been building up to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Doctor Strange is one of the best independent
that was cool.
ones.
The movie's just cool.
Doctor Strange, Black Panther.
Oh my god! No, okay, that's
Black Panther.
Black
was
Panther.
completely
really
forget.
good.
No, for me, Black Panther.
Wakanda forever.
Did you say it wasn't good or was good?
No, it was.
Okay.
Even I really liked
seeing
it.
it in that bloody IMAX film.
Yeah, we saw it in
we
IMAX.
saw it.
Didn't we?
Basically,
Great.
Prague, wasn't it?
we all saw Black Panther in Germany's biggest like teched out cinema. It was a proper IMAX cinema with 52 speakers or something like that.
And can I just comment on that whilst we're there? The size of their popcorn in Germany was huge, and they had 1.5 litre like just cups of Coke. I was like, that's not a cup, mate. That's a bucket.
I mean, you see it on a shelf at Asda if you're over here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's crazy, and their popcorn as well had meat in it, which I thought was a bit weird.
Yeah, that was weird, like little sausage pieces.
Or whatever it was. Yeah. Not keen on that. Don't know what are you doing in Germany, mate.
But then, when we walked into that cinema, I was like, "Oh my god,
it was mental,
massive.
wasn't it?
It's it was 1,000 seats.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I did fall asleep though in it, but I saw the main
I did
bits.
it like for 5 minutes, but that's because the seats were comfy.
I'm surrounded by frauds. What is this? You both fell asleep in one of the best films ever.
I'm notorious
Jet
for
lag.
falling asleep at cinemas.
Check out the jet. Oh mate, you know what you are.
An hour's time difference.
Right.
No, I don't know.
Well,
I'm
okay.
generally
The poor
tired
actually twat both of them. Last film we're going to talk about. Best film of the decade.
Oh god.
Film of the decade.
Well, I've said in previous podcasts, for me, is probably my favourite film is Bohemian Rhapsody because
That can't
it's
film
biased. Yeah, it's biased because I really like Queen as a band, and it's the one film that really stands out to me where I'm like, it's got an emotional impact on me, and I can watch it time and time again, and it's so I watch with all my family as well, so it's got meaning behind it. In terms of filmmaking and storyline, it's pretty standard, but personally, it's my favourite. But it's not the greatest film of the decade, but my favourite film is Bohemian Rhapsody. Big up!
Jamie?
Or Rogue One.
I can't decide which one, and I'm gonna say the reason I didn't mention before because they didn't fit into these categories, but just because of what I grew up doing and the childhood I had, when I watched these films, it hit the heart. Like, it didn't just make me laugh; it hit the heart. So the two are the Lego Movie and then Toy Story 3, because I grew up watching Disney Pixar, and I also grew up playing Lego. So even though they're like an action intense movie, for me it hit like a place in my heart where I couldn't, no other film would. And just because those are films where if my little cousin was like, "Can we watch Lego Movie?" I'd be like, "Yes, please."
Yeah,
Like, it was quite a
even
good
though they
film.
are like young children's movies, like they just, for me,
Yeah.
I love them.
In fact, that was one of the most visually sort of stunning films because it's just the way they did it looks so real. Some of it was real animation, but a lot of it was just all rendered CGI. But you wouldn't be able to say it looked like real Lego. It was absolutely amazing.
See, for me, for my favourite films, I can't name one, but I can
1917.
that's this decade.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Actually, I suppose does it count? Does 2020 count?
yeah,
as like
2020 is a new
the
decade.
whole, it's like the bookends of it though.
I'd say it's a new decade, 2020. But for me, shut you firstly from Black Panther, mate. Shut it, right? For me, I can't name a favourite, but I've got some honourable mentions as such. You got Django Unchained, was
Not seen it.
brilliant. I hope you know, I've got a load. I actually haven't double checked if these are in this decade, but I reckon I think they are. Django Unchained. I think the first Hunger Games.
Oh, the first Hunger Games was
First
good.
Hunger Games is brilliant.
Yeah, it's the same with the first Maze Runner. I thought was quite good as
Yeah,
well.
Maze
Holy
Runner.
crap, I forgot about that film.
Star Wars Force Awakens, Star Wars Rogue One. We won't talk about Last Jedi or Rise of
Rogue
Skywalker too
One.
much because they're a bit.
No, I think Rise of Skywalker was better than
Like,
the
oh
other
yeah,
two.
it was better than Last. No, it wasn't
better
better,
than
than Force
Force
Awakens.
Awakens.
No,
When it
no,
was.
Well, you first seen Black Panther.
Well, you don't like the Rise of Skywalker as much as other things.
Okay, well on that note, when this camera cuts, me and Kieran have a massive fight. So subscribe and you will see whichever one of us wins in the next podcast, and the other one you probably won't see again.
See you later.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe, I've already said that.
If you want some, I'll give it ya.
Right, coming in.